Parshat Tisa. Parshat Tisa is a packed parsha, and I'm going to talk about one of the many subjects in Parshat Tisa. Specifically, I would like to discuss the bris, or the covenant, that Hashem made with the Jewish people in this week's parsha. Now, before we go into detail, I would like to remind us that this year is dedicated to the memory of Rachaleah Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. So let us begin. Why is there a covenant in this week's parsha? We have other covenants in Jewish history. Specifically, there is another major covenant between the Jewish people and Hashem. And that is Brit Sinai. It is a covenant that occurred next to Har Sinai at Mount Sinai. What is the relationship between the previous covenant and the covenant we are learning about today? Are they the same or are they different? Are they related at all? Those are the questions that I would like us to answer in this year. Now let's just remind ourselves what exactly was the content of that previous covenant and why I would even think that that covenant is related to the covenant that we have here today. Now if you go back to the Parshiot, to Parshas Yisro, to Parshas Mishpatim, to Truma, to Tzaveh, the following events occurred. In Parshas Yisro, we have Matan Torah, the revelation of Sinai at Sinai, and the Jewish people are receiving the Torah, hearing the 10 utterances from God, and being taught many laws there at the mountain. After we had the revelation at Sinai, at the very end of Parshas Yisro, we are told of a couple of laws Hashem gives the Jewish people. For example, make sure to serve God, not to serve idols. Another example, this is how you build an altar to serve me. Parshas Mishpatim, the following parsha, includes many, many laws. The vast majority of the parsha is laws, civil laws, and laws also relating to God. And we discussed some of them when we learned about Parshas Mishpatim. For example, the laws of judges, or the laws of lending money, or the laws of the holidays, when we're supposed to go up to the Beit HaMikdash, the temple in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem, to bring korbanot, to bring offerings, and to serve God there together. These are some of the examples of the mitzvot that were given in Parshat Mishpatim. Now, at the very end of Parshat Mishpatim, in chapter 24, we are told about a brit, a covenant. And in that brit, Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people what Hashem says. They say whatever Hashem says we will do. Moshe writes it down. The next day he reads to them the book of the covenant, the Sefer HaBrit. The Jewish people say Na'aseh v'nishma. We will do and we will listen. They slaughter animals and they make the brit. Afterwards, we are told that Moshe Rabbeinu goes up on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Then we are told about Hashem commanding Moshe about how to build the Mishkan, how to build the tabernacle. And that brings us to our week, Parshas Tisa or Parshas Tisa. Now, at the beginning of this week's parsha, we are told some more laws about building the tabernacle. And afterwards, the terrible event occurs of the Chet HaEgel, the sin of the golden calf, where a number of Jews create an idol, a golden calf, and serve it. After the golden calf, Hashem says to Moshe, I want to destroy this people. Moshe prays for the Jewish nation. Hashem decides not to destroy them. Moshe goes down, he destroys the calf. There's a whole process of how people who serve the calf are killed. Afterwards, Moshe returns to God and prays for the Jewish people. Now Hashem says to Moshe, I'm not going to go with you anymore. I'm going to send an angel to lead you. This is very upsetting for Moshe and the Jewish people, and they mourn. Moshe davens to Hashem, I don't want an angel to go before us. He wants God to take the Jewish people into the land of Israel. And God agrees. He reveals to Moshe the Yud Gimel Midot, the 13 attributes of mercy, a special prayer that describes Hashem's attributes of mercy, and is a very powerful prayer to have Hashem listen to us and forgive us. And afterwards, he tells Moshe, I am making a brit, a covenant with the Jewish people. Now, all of this is the introduction to the covenant. Because again, to understand the covenant, to understand why do we have a covenant now, we have to understand the background, the context of the covenant. We already had one covenant at Sinai, but then we sinned. And now we have a second covenant after Sinai. This second covenant is being made with the Jewish people at the time when they are receiving the second set of luchot, the second tablets. Again, right before Hashem tells Moshe about the covenant, he tells him, I would like you to carve these tablets, the luchot habrit, the tablets of the covenant for the Jewish people. So we have one initial covenant that occurs between Hashem and the Jewish people at Sinai, when we receive the first luchot, the first tablets, but those tablets were broken because we sinned. And now we have a second covenant, also done between Hashem and the Jewish people when we receive the second luchot, the second tablets. These luchot are, thank God, not broken and remain with the Jewish people. And that already gives us an idea that maybe there is a link